Welcome to Conversations with Toy, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday. I hope that you have had the absolute most amazing week. Hi, if this is your first time tuning in, I am Toy, the podcaster, but I'm also a content creator and I wear many hats. I am a freelance writer. I am also a blogger, adding vlog to the list as if I don't have enough to do. And the two titles I love the most is being wife and mother of three absolutely amazing kids, of which, if this is the first time you're tuning into this podcast, or maybe not, you're an avid listener, and I love that for both of us. Make sure you tune into last week's podcast as we talked about motherhood, and I also had my wonderful children on the episode, and the feedback that I've gotten has been absolutely outstanding. Everybody was really loving the conversation, and I hope that it inspires you as parents, if you are a parent or auntie, whatever your titles are, that you have conversations with kids because they will speak if you ask. And sometimes you may not like the answers and sometimes you do, but it's all about listening and communicating. And I'm so grateful to create a space for my kids that even if it's on camera, off camera, most times off camera, that we create that space for them to have good communication. So yeah, that was last week's episode. This week we have an amazing guest. We have some guests. So these guests are going to be talking about their dance studio and things that they're doing and the show that they're about to put on, and I can't wait for that. But let's just talk about this week. Let's catch up a little bit. Diddy is on trial. We have to talk about that because we can be amiss to act like as if we don't know no better. We know Diddy is on trial. And with that has come so much scrutiny. I've heard so many comments. I've seen so many comments online and on Instagram, TikTok, and pretty much across all social media about how, she could have left. She could have done this. She could have done that. I hate that. Let me say that one more time. I know hate is a strong word, but I actually mean it. I literally hate the fact in this society, in the year of our Lord 2025, that we are still victim blaming as if the corrosion, as if all the things that went down and should not have happened. And let's also put this in perspective. She was 19 when she met him. That's still pretty much a baby. Yes, you're an adult, so you can make decisions like getting involved in things that are salacious if you choose to, 100%. But your development is not grown. I always tell my kids, as you grow older, you won't become grown until you can take care of all the things on your own. Meaning you don't need help from someone, and not that you can't receive help, but that you're able to take care of you and the things that you do and all decision-making processes that are surrounded your decisions as well. Meaning you can get into something and just as fast as you got into it, you can also get yourself out. Now, again, as adults, as people, we all need help from time to time, but for the majority, you ought to be able to get yourself through and out of certain things. And so he lured her, in my opinion, with the grandeur of being famous. She wanted to sing. He found her, I believe, on MySpace, and the rest was history. What I am more concerned about is the fact that she's telling all these stories. She's having to relive these moments while she's currently pregnant. We don't know how far along she is, but it looks from the outside looking in that she's pretty far along. And to have to go through all of this while pregnant, I'm praying for her mental health as well as and obviously not the mental health of her child, but for her child, because telling these stories, like, we don't understand what you're around, what you're talking about. All those things go inside of us and goes, around our kids. And when you're pregnant, you have to be very circumspect of who you're around, what you're doing, and the activities that you're doing. And this type of stress that this has to be in, I pray every day when she leaves from giving her testimony that she is being pampered, taken care of, getting a nap, eating well, drinking well, because she is pregnant. Like, she is legitimately carrying a baby in her belly right now. So again, I cannot stress enough that my concern is for her mental health and the safety of her baby. That is my stress. That's what I'm worried about. The stuff with Diddy is going to play itself out. I don't know if he's going to be able to wiggle his way out of this time. It's looking very Rico right now. It's giving Rico, because everything that's going on is definitely suggesting that he used his business as an ability to run things that should not have been done, illegal things that should not have been done business-wise. That's why you have to separate your business from your personal. And it's kind of hard. Like myself, I am my own brand. My name of my blog and my company is Toy Time Blog. It's a play of my name. So sometimes the lines can be blurred, but not on that type of level. Let's be clear. Because all I want y'all to be like, ooh, really, you too? Absolutely the heck not. Not in that level, but the lines can be blurred, and you have to be very clear about how you run things when it comes to when you're having a business. Because when you run businesses and you do all these different things, you are very much on the chopping block. People are going to be looking at you. All eyes are going to be on you. So my thought process is about her mental health and about the safety and the wellness of her unborn child. We don't know what this child is, and it don't matter. We hope for a safe and beautiful delivery for her. Beyond Diddy, I know y'all know that it is Mental Health Month, right? Like, I know you know that. It is Mental Health Month for the month of May. And here's the thing. I talk about mental health in every episode in some capacity, every single one, because it's absolutely an important conversation. You don't know how many times people are saying to me, you know, when they see me, like, oh, you know what? I'm so glad you had that conversation. I was really thinking about that. And that is the point. We have to start normalizing the fact that, like you, like me, we go through things. And in the midst of going through things, sometimes our mental health isn't the best. Sometimes our mindsets are not the best. Sometimes things that are going around us is just not the best. So many people suffer in silence because the people that are around them, they believe like, oh, you know, mental health is just stuff that people say. It's just a word. There's no such thing. Or people are making this bigger than it needs to be. And when you're around environments, when you are around environments like that, you cannot heal properly. I'm going to take this because I've said this before. I have had this conversation. If you go back to any of my podcasts, you can hear this very, very vividly. I have always said you have to be very clear of the conversations you have when you're not going through something or don't understand something, because you might think that, oh, well, that's ridiculous, this isn't that. You have no idea. Your child might be listening to you. A friend might be listening to you. All these people might be listening to you. And I have said this plenty of times. You know, a lot of times people don't understand. When you're having conversations with your friends, your family, all these different avenues, and we as a people, not me as personally, but me as a people, we as a people have to understand. People are listening to us when we're talking badly about different topics. You're talking badly about the LGBTQ plus community. You're talking bad about, you know, relationships. You're talking bad about this and that. Your family, the friends, or people are listening to you. They may be secretly going through the very things you're talking about. And those are the same people that say when they find out later on that somebody was going through something, they are super quick to say, well, why didn't you tell me? Tell you for why? Tell you for why when you know that you have no inclination of supporting. Nothing about anything you got going on is going to say, yeah, I'm going to support. You are the last person that anybody should be coming to, because we've already heard your conversation. Like even in the Bible, Peter tried to say, oh, I deny Jesus, but your conversation already told on you. And that's the same concept. We already knew what you were about because we heard you. And so then you can no longer be the person that becomes a safe space. And some of y'all don't get that concept. I'm going to say that again. Some of y'all don't get that concept while you're running your mouth about things you don't understand because it's not your weight. It's not the journey that you're going through. Be very careful of what you say, because while you're speaking very vividly about something you don't understand, somebody is listening nearby. And I have said this numerous times on this podcast. What triggered my memory was Whitney Elise, who is the Reclaimed on Instagram. She's, I believe, the same thing. No, I don't think she's the same thing on TikTok, but nonetheless, so many times there are numerous people that say things. She was talking about this today when we were talking about the Black mother that's going through where she is pretty much brain dead, and they're making her carry her baby because of the heartbeat rule. Who knows what the longevity of this child is? Who knows the health of this child? I don't know. But the fact that she's in a vegetative state and her family wants to pull the plug, they want to move forward and they cannot. is very disheartening. And what she was saying is so many people are making these comments online, but then turn around, don't realize the people that are going through the very things or what may possibly go through something, and they're seeing that. And I've said this on this podcast before, those very same words when it comes to mental health or anything. You literally can apply that principle across the board. You hear somebody talking about, she was doing this and she was doing that, and not knowing that the people around you are secretly going through things that they don't have the strength to say. And they know that you're not a safe space. Why don't y'all get that? Put that in your spirit. Think about the next time you speak very oddly about something you don't get because it's not your struggle. That you don't know what you're putting in the atmosphere that's going to turn somebody off because they know that you don't mean nobody well. Like, consider that. Because that is what you're dealing with. These are the very, very, very things that are going down. And I wish better for you. And I wish better for your alleged community, because you don't understand how many people you're destroying because you want to talk so quickly, so fastly about things you don't know. You don't even understand it, but you just rather keep saying it, rather keep saying it, rather keep saying it. And for why? That's always my question. It's always like, but for why? But for why? You're not doing anything and putting any marks anywhere. You're not doing any other things, but you continuously keep saying things and it doesn't make any sense. I want better for you. Like, I really, truly want better for you. But here we are. Mental health does go through different levels depending on your mental health journey. The other day, I was in the car with my kids, and this is my two younger kids. My oldest was probably doing something. She's always involved, super involved. I love that for her. But my two youngest kids was in the car with me. It's raining in Philly, and as I'm driving down, I believe, Cobb's Creek, there's a man who, there was a car kind of blocking. You know how when cars are going to turn, but they just do that slow bop turn where they just do, like, it's like the struggle. It's like, when did turning become such a hard concept? Like, when did this happen? But this car in front of me was turning, and so I couldn't really see around him. And as I got around him, I see this man literally dodging, dipping and dodging in and out of traffic. When I tell you, it was nothing but the grace of God that I did not hit this man, because there was never an intention to hit this man. He literally was doing it on purpose. Now, here is the problem. I can't say, well, he was dealing with whatever, but I will tell you this. The look on his face was nothing but, I don't know if you ever seen evil on somebody's face. When you see bad intentions on somebody's face, I saw all of that and then some. And this man was angry, and it was almost like he was throwing himself in front of cars. Here's why I am bringing that up without knowing his diagnosis. What I can say is this. If you get deep enough in your mental health where it's unchecked and not taken care of, you can find yourself in a situation where you can hear voices telling you to do things, and it's going to tell you to do things that don't make sense. And I could see on his face that he wasn't okay. He wasn't right. And he looked me in my eye, and I looked him at his eye as he was cussing, and he looked like he was going to hit my car. Now, pause for a second. All this was happening at one time. This car is turning the corner. He literally is dipping out of in front of my car. He had ran in front of another car, and he came back to my side because the light had begun to change. So I wasn't even speeding under any circumstances, and I'd already started the process of slowing down. As I'm doing that, he and I make contact as he goes to actually hit my car, and I swerved just a little, because on Cobb's Creek, if you're in Philadelphia, if you're on Cobb's Creek, there's not that much space left or right on when you're going down. Two cars are going down, but there's not enough space. So since there's not enough space, I can't just maneuver left or right, because I'm either going to hit parked cars or I'm going to hit oncoming or driving the car next to me. I was in the right-hand lane. So that means the cars in the left-hand lane was going straight. I would have hit that car, and I would have hit the parked car. But it was just enough space for me to miss him and catch eyes as he's deranged, screaming and hollering. It's amazing how people can recognize mental health when it gets to that level. We can recognize it. We'll say, oh, he's out of his mind. He's not in his right mind. That guy is crazy. We're good about that. We're not good about when somebody looks like they're doing well, they still functioning, still getting things done, and then they're going home and their mind is all over the place. They can't put two sentences together outside of their responsibilities, and they're overwhelmed and they are drowning in despair because that doesn't have a look to it. Because I can look like that and I'm still creating a podcast. I can look like that and I'm still creating content. I could look like that and I'm still hanging out with my friends. I'm still showing up for my kids. I'm still doing the things with my husband. I'm doing all these things and can still look like the same level of the same man that was doing what he was doing, but it looks differently. And so therefore, that's why we have a stigma. Because instead of just understanding that anybody at any given time can be dealing with any level of mental health, we only attach that to what we believe looks crazy. But I wish at some time, if God would allow us to open up our heads, we'd be able to see people's heads and their spaces and where they are, or hear their thoughts, we would see it vividly, and then we wouldn't be so quick to judge. Because the people that speak out the most and say, oh, that girl's crazy, she don't know that, is it? And mental health ain't a real thing. You who speak on it the most are probably suffering the hardest. A hit dog will holler. So oftentimes when people are talking about something and they're putting things out in the atmosphere and they're like, this, and that, could it be because you're struggling yourself? Could it be? Could it be? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put things into you, but I will say from past experience, I've known for it to be. I've known for it to be. And it's truly disheartening. It's truly disheartening how people don't get that concept. How mean-spirited people can be because it doesn't look like your package deal. It doesn't look and doesn't come all fluffed up the way you think it should be. But here we go. You know what I'm saying? Here we are. It's crazy to me how people can be. Crazy to me. So with this month being mental health wellness, please take the time to, one, really dig deep into yourself and ask yourself, are you really okay? And if you're not okay, know that it's okay to not be okay. But I do want you to find another level to go and to find the answers of which you seek. If you know you're not okay and you're struggling with something, can we get some more tools underneath our belt so that we can help and meet our own needs? Because that's what it boils down to. How can we meet our own needs? How can we become better? How can we get ourselves together? How can we show up better in our own spaces? How can we do that? That's what it boils down to. That's what I want for all of us to consider and think about those things, because those are the things that matter. And if you ain't gonna say nothing nice, we've been talking about the golden rule I remember talking about the golden rule since I was like 2, 3, 4. The golden rules, if you can't say nothing nice, stop saying things at all. Stop saying things at all. Because we're the only people we're people and we put weights on things. If a murderer is higher than this, and then this person is higher than that, and gluttony is bad, but not as bad as somebody that's being jealous, but then jealousy is not as bad as murder, and then rape is not bad as this. Stop. Yes, there's things that feel heinous and they're more heinous. They feel that way. But in reality of it is, we got to all do better. Now, mental health is not a game. It's not a joke. It's not an excuse. And for people who have now gotten hip to it and are using mental health as an excuse, you are part of the problem as well. Oh, that was just my anxiety. Well, I was just a little stressed out. So yeah, I was just a little depressed. And so I acted that way. I said those things. I did those things. A part of healing is to recognize that you are the problem and to do better. Because as many times we want to point the finger out, there's 20 fingers pointing back at us. I'll give you an example. I can only talk about my personal life. I've said this plenty of times if you listen to the podcast. There was plenty of times when I had stopped talking to my extended family. I'm talking like my dad's side of the family mostly, to be honest with you, because my mom's side of the family is so less of us. I talk to them, to be honest with you, right? So my dad's side of the family, which is my stepfather, and I'm only saying that for clarification because I do have some biological father out there. And I have conversations and contacts with my side, aka his side. But my stepfather, his side of the family, I had went no contact. Before no contact before no contact became a phrase, before we started calling it going no contact, I literally went no contact for years. I got into it with my aunts. I got into it with my grandmother, which was my stepfather's mother, got into it with them, and I made a very clear distinction. I wasn't coming to nothing you're having, so stop inviting me. Don't call me. Don't two-way page me. Don't send no smoke screens. Don't send no bird to tell me nothing. And I made it very clear. Don't nobody come say, well, so-and-so said, because I don't want to hear what so-and-so has to say. The breakdown in communication was very clear, and I made my line in the sand, and I meant business. So I went no contact before no contact was a thing. And in the midst of going no contact, when I tell you, I did not go to where they were, and they were not allowed anywhere where I was. Now, can I stop somebody from being where I was? No. But do I tell them where I'm going to be? Absolutely not. They had no concept of my life. I put a stop to it. I didn't talk to them. We didn't communicate. Wasn't no texting. I blocked everybody. I blocked them from email, blocked them from my social media, blocked them from my phone. I blocked them. And I had blocked them personally in my heart before I even started blocking them on all those artificial points. Some of y'all block people on social media and you don't block them out of your life. Here's the point. Once I started going to therapy, the only conversations that I would have from my side of things would be with my therapist. Now, there were people around me in my circle that had issues with those people as well. But at the end of the day, I was not entertaining that. Yes, the people that are around me can voice their opinions about what they were going through. And even if there's like, girl, me too, I never allowed that to sway what I was doing. At the end of the day, I went no contact, and I meant that. I meant that. So they had no access to me. I closed up all the doors. There are a couple of them that I still am going no contact because of my personal reasons. I don't even want to get into it. But what I will say is, me pointing the finger at what they had said, what they had done, them, still allowed me to have them fingers pointed back at me. And so what I started to do was say, okay, let me own my part. Because I can't justify their part. I don't know I can't atone for what they said. I can't atone for what they did. So let me own me. Was I wrong in what I said? Probably not. Was I wrong in the delivery? Probably. Matter of fact, it's no probably, because when you own it, you know it. My delivery was off. Of the words might not have been, the words were okay. The principle of what I was saying was fine. How I said it and the cussing out of adults, of other growner people or people who are considered your elders, was completely wrong. I own that. I own the delivery. I own the words in the delivery, even though the sentiments never changed. Like, I never backed down on my sentiments. Let's be very clear. I never backed down on my sentiments, but I definitely said, okay, now your delivery, you can be a cannonball. And I am. To this day, I am still a cannonball. I'm working on it. Because once I get to the point, I'm very I'll keep dealing with people. Keep bringing them in. And then when I get to my max, it's a wrap for me. Now, you're talking to a grown person who, as a child, my mother would use the silent treatment. And that's one thing I refuse to do with my kids, because the silent treatment allows you to self-soak. And when you self-soak, you build anger in the midst of that. You go through different phases. You go through that, I really want you to talk to me, and I'm super sad too. I don't care if you ever talk to me, but maybe I was just playing, but I really am mad. And not learning how to process that and going through that as a child, it helped me to be better as an adult, because you could cut me off. And I might go through those phases for a very short period, but at the end of the day, I will then be like, it is well with my soul. I am good. I will be good over here, and you stay over there, and the two shall never cross. That's just how I roll. It's unfortunate, but that's how I roll. Okay? And so all I'm saying is that could very well be the thing. But I worked on me. So as you point those fingers out, remember, fingers are pointing back to you. It's been a very good week for me. Personally, I'm still in we're going to see if I'm going to come to your event or not. I'm still very much in that phase right now. I'm okay with that. I'm loving it. I like the piece. And what is so crazy, I removed myself from going to so many events and picking and choosing which events I go to now being so, at this point, creating content outside of myself, that I'm really still feeling like I'm running around. And I'm also more of a present parent, because I'm running around like I'm these kids' Uber parent, and it's a lot. I'm in my car sometimes 2 and 3 hours at a pop just to take somebody or pick somebody up. And that's just the truth. But today's guests, we have guests. Praise be. We do have guests. Okay. We have Liz, Andreas, and Priscilla. Okay. They are a part of an amazing dance group. And that dance group is called the Dance Ground. They are a premier performing arts school based in Newtown, Bucks County, and they are proud to announce that this dance company, comprising of 23 extraordinary dancers between the ages of 11 and 18, have been invited to perform at the prestigious Chita Rivera Awards on Monday, May 19th, which is coming up at the New York City Skirball Center in New York City. That's what I just said. Now, the Chita Rivera Awards are the only award ceremony solely dedicated to honoring excellence in dance, choreography on Broadway, off-Broadway, and in film, and is a glittering celebration of the arts form past, present, and future. The star-studded annual gala features show-stopping performances, iconic honorees, and celebrated presenters. This year's Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented to Tony Award winner Ben Vereen, we love him, recognizing his profound and endearing contributions to the dance in theater. So these wonderful people, wonderful dance group, is going to perform at the Chita Rivera Awards in New York. And that is not an easy thing. They are going to be closing out the show. And let me just say, that is a lot. That is a lot. So we have Liz, sorry about that. That is Liz, the mother. We have siblings, Priscilla and Andreas, who are on the conversations with us. They are going to be talking about what to expect, their journey, the things that they learned. And as always, we talk about mental health. And this was absolutely good. You know, creativity with music and dance is absolutely a great way to help with your mental health. You know, sometimes dance and music going and combining can really lift your spirits when you're having a bad day. Think about it. Have a bad day and just like do a dance party. Like do a random dance party in your living room. Doesn't have to be on beat. You could be whoever. You could look raggedy. You can do all the things. And I can guarantee you your spirits will lift. So without any further ado, I want to welcome Liz, Andreas, and Priscilla to this show, because we love to hear about how we are inspiring young people and seeing young people take their mark in this world and dance their way to absolutely greatness. So without any further ado, let's welcome them to the Conversations with Toy family. Okay, Conversations with Toy family. We have a very, very unique and amazing story to tell today about a group called the Dance Ground. And before we get into that conversation, let me just say, I have said this last week, so that last week we talked about music. This week we're talking about dance. So that actually makes so much sense. I've always said between music and dance, anything that you're doing that's creative is a great way to help with self-care and mental health and wellness. But today, we're going to talk about Dance Ground. Who is Dance Ground? What are they doing? And the most prestigious of performances that they have been honored to be able to do this upcoming Monday. So if you are in the New York City area, you'll know all about it. So without any further ado, I want to welcome Liz, Andreas, Priscilla of the Dance Ground to the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing. So guys, you can jump in at any time. I want to know the basis of who Dance Ground is, and let's go from there.
Okay,
the Dance Ground is a dance performing school in Newtown, Pennsylvania. And we train dancers from ages 2.5 all the way up to adult, pre-professional. Many of them aspire to go on to be professionals. And we have a select group that we call our competitive team. And the dancers that have this opportunity to perform are dancers that are into the studio anywhere from 13 to 16 hours a week training. And now what happened is we got this opportunity. So imagine not only being in there 13 to 16 hours, they have probably another good 4 to 6 hours rehearsal on top.
Wow, that's a lot of hours and a lot of dedication. What do you think, and anyone can jump in, what do you think is one of the number one reasons as to why, because in order for you to have this type of level of wanting to do this for so long, I have 2 nieces that are dancers and they are really, it takes a lot of time on their part. But what do you think is like their number one reason as to why they're continuing to do it and why they love it?
I think, honestly, I can only speak for myself, but even myself growing up, it just felt right. I started dancing at a really young age. I was, I don't know, 2.
Priscilla and André are my children.
Yes.
So I have 4, and of the 4, 2 of them dance, Andreas and Priscilla.
Wait a minute. You have 4 children altogether, and I see the 2. So you guys cannot see. There's 2 here. And she looks nothing like she could be having nobody's 4 kids. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Oh, thank you so much. So yes, these two have been around it since birth, in vitro actually. Um, and they came out dancing and they developed a passion for it.
I think what attracts people to dance is um, in society that we all grow up in, it can be very confining. There's a lot of societal rules and expectations that are put on us that we feel like we have to follow. And I think what is unique about dance is that it allows you to be very expressive in your thoughts and your emotions, and the community itself is very accepting and opening in that regard as well. And so it's something where you get to be your truest self with no judgment, and I think that's hard to come by. In the arts in general, obviously you have musical theater and then you have acting as well, writing, anything creative. I think that's what attracts people to creative arts, is they can just put out who they are and not be afraid to be judged. You still are scared of judgment, but it's a lot more accepting than going out into what's all we always call in the dance world, say like the real world jobs, you know. Um, Dance jobs are very real world, but it's such a different uh, paradigm, if that makes sense. It's just you can be very expressive, and I think that is attractive to a lot of people. And then once you get into the dance world and start training, then you kind of just fall in love with how it makes you feel.
Yeah, that's just like it's a common ground for a lot of our dancers. A lot of our students wouldn't be friends outside of dance. They wouldn't. Just because they're all so different, but that one common thing is their love for dance. And so they're able to just forget everything. And like we said, those dancers that are there 13 to 16 hours a week, that's their second home. They treat it like their second home. We treat them like our kids, and they often treat each other like siblings. And so it's a really cool thing to watch, and to also be able to share that and understand them in terms of like, we can tell. You have kids come in, they're off that day. You can tell they're off, you can tell they're in a mood or they're not having a good day, but they are so good at leaving it at the door and just literally dancing it out. And so I think that's a really special thing in terms of the need of needing to dance, not just wanting, like we need to dance. That's just how we are.
What type of dance do you guys cover?
We pretty much cover everything aside from ballroom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the summer, we have had in the past ballroom teachers come in, but that's not something we offer on the regular or weekly. But our dancers are exposed to everything. We expose them to everything. New York City Dance Alliance, which is what we are performing, the Chita Rivera Awards. Joe Lantieri also runs New York City Dance Alliance, and it's a convention that we take our kids to where they literally have to do everything: ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary, lyrical, hip hop. So they have to be ready for all of it.
And that transfers into the real world. It's not enough to be just like a strong contemporary or strong musical theater dancer. You have to be very versatile, and even more so depending on what you're going into. If you're going to the musical theater world, you also have to be able to sing. You need to be able to tap. You need to be able to perform jazz, ballet. You have to have technique. So we're just trying to do our best to prepare them for if they want to pursue this as a career.
Yeah. Now you guys raised what, $30,000? Tell me more about that and how that came about, because I also want to go from that question to knowing, is this some of the girls or some of the students, since it's some of the students' first time in New York?
So actually it's close to 35,000, which we're very excited about. Yeah.
Very excited.
And I don't know if you want to talk about
what happened was about 7.5 weeks ago, I had a conversation with Joe Lantieri, who is the founding director of the New York City Dance Alliance College Scholarship Foundation. He started that in about 2010. I've known Joe for many years, many, many, many years. And as Priscilla and André had said, we go to the dance conventions. we do have the kids participate in these workshops. So the Dance Alliance is almost another type of family organization. So when I had the conversation with Joe, I was actually talking about another conversation, and he had asked me, he said, what's your thoughts on your dancers performing the closing number at the Chita Awards? And I was like, oh, whoa, okay. Now, granted, the dancers that they do choose are usually more trained dancers. They don't just go to just any dance school and say, okay, you want to do the Cheetah Awards. So he, knowing our dancers are very trained, asked, would I like to do it? And I said, well, I don't know. Let me think about this. We've got to see if I can make this work, because knowing when you also are a part of this performance, the whole performance is fundraising for the college scholarships. So there is a fee, and the fee is around $25,000 that they're looking for donors to come in with. So I went back to Priscilla and André, who are the co-artistic directors of the school now. I'm trying to step away, and they are the choreographers, and said, do you think you can come up with something really energizing? This is a huge show. At the time, I wasn't aware that they were going to be honoring Ben Vereen, who is someone I'm very passionate about, and these guys are as well. So when I found that out, I was like, oh, this is like more than a coincidence. This is almost like a meant to be. I believe in meant to be's. So we started. They agreed they could do it, and I put something out to the parents, and we had parents jump on immediately. I said, you're going to all have to fundraise, and this is what it's going to be. And one of the dads in particular gave me a call, and he said, I think I can do this, and I think I could donate $3,200. And which was pretty, at the time, like, okay, that's great. And here he asked me, he's like, can I put out something our company allows us to, I guess, do similar to company match of donating funds? And he said, can I put out a flyer? And he did. He put it out through his company, and his company ended up raising $17,500 for us. And then we also have another company in New York, Silverstein Properties, who also is sponsoring us with $10,000. And then we have another company that my older son works for, Glenn Mead, is matching. So my son donated $2,000, and the company's matching $2,000. So we've gotten $4,000 from them. And then just with other raffles we're doing, we're now almost at $35,000.
Which
That's
originally we
absolutely
said,
beautiful. That's beautiful. Just so we're clear, the fact that everybody stepped up and was like, this is a great thing. I love that.
Yes, their sponsorship was like right on target. Like, they love the arts and they want to encourage. They also see what their children are doing at the school, and they're thrilled, and the children are experiencing growth, and so they're all positive.
And I think that's something to segue back into what you were saying in the beginning, asking about why dance and why the arts. It's something cool to see transpire, is that in these real world jobs, there's people that are also like craving art, and like wanting to support it, and sometimes they don't. It's more about not that they don't want to, but more they don't know how to. And so when something like the opportunity of our one dad of the dancer goes to his company and puts it out there, like, here's a place that you can donate, and these students are going to go and perform in New York. A lot of people jumped on board because they had that right in front of them. They're like, oh yes, this is awesome, let's do that. So it's exciting to see in these like office type jobs that there are people that just they want to help, but sometimes people just don't know how to go about helping. So it's
now. What are the logistics of being able to take, first of all, how many students are going, and what are the logistics? Because just taking any amount of students anywhere has to be quite an undertaking. So what did you guys do to bring this all together so that everybody who is going to go can go and enjoy themselves and enjoy the experience?
So we have 23 students in the opening number. One of them being already living in New York, the boy. And thankfully, we're not far from New York.
Mhm.
It's very easy to actually get up there. So I would imagine most of everybody is going to probably take the New Jersey Transit from the train station all the way up into Penn Station. And then that becomes a lot easier because subway systems are easy to work through. And probably everyone just staying with their parents and just going up in groups. Some will
Yeah.
probably drive up.
The parents are just as
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, so
The parents are
we
way
have,
excited.
we have very dedicated parents, so they're all on board, and it's kind of just going to be a collective, just get up there type situation.
In our school, we've never been the type of school to spend like ridiculous amounts of money on costumes, and like there's so much greatness and like simplicity. So we ended up getting costumes, and we do a lot of in-house stuff. We tailored them ourselves. Like we use everyone's,
All resources.
it's definitely like a group effort. And so
It's kind of just everyone
not as
being
bad
like,
as you think.
yeah, everyone being like, I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah.
And just like throwing in, chipping in.
Right, like there's a couple moms, like on Monday, our performers need to be up there at 2:30.
Sunday. You mean
No,
the
I'm talking Monday.
Yeah.
So several would prefer not to take off from work and lose that day. So we have one mom that'll drive 8 dancers up. We put together a little transportation questionnaire. Who needs a ride? Who can supply a ride? And they pulled that all together.
Yeah.
So it helps the parents that, like, several of them are school teachers. So
Right.
for them to take off work is hard because now they've got to find a sub, and as we know, subbing is difficult today and things like that.
That
So
is.
no, we have a great little community. We really do. We're very blessed to have the commitment from the parents as well. They support their children. Yeah,
Big
100%.
time.
The saying, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep, and we have a good one.
Yeah.
I'm all excited, like I'm going to, but it's like
Hey, do you want to come?
Let's take it.
Do you want
I have if I could get off or have around sometime around that, I would. But like, I just love hearing.
For sure.
I love seeing young people be supported in what they desire and what they like, because you never know what that's going to turn into. And then feeling that support and love, hopefully will go with them as they become adults themselves, that they'll like pay it forward to somebody else as they get older. And like my mom said, when we start to get adult money, we can start doing stuff like that too, just because it's just great. It's great to see. It's great to hear. And I love the fact that you guys were selected to do this. Like, this is a very big deal.
Yeah.
Yes, we are very excited about it. I mean, I think when I first went to them and told them what Jeff had asked, is it a possibility? Could we do this? I think we all were like, whoa, okay, we are going to be closing the Chita Awards. And, I had a journalist ask me, what do I think Chita is looking down from heaven thinking right now when we do this performance? And I said, all I think is she's going to be smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
Because she knows firsthand how difficult it is to become a dancer.
Right.
And our kids are good. I mean, they really are. I'm not bragging, but they really are good. They work hard.
When you see how young they are and how they're dancing, even us, we're like our youngest. We've got 11. Sabrina's 11. And Lily's 12. Like, when I see them dancing right now, the growth they've had in 7.5 weeks, it just blows my mind. And I cannot help but smile, because I don't even think they would think that they would be doing this 7.5 weeks ago.
They will be changed.
Yeah. And so they have no idea what they're in for. I just keep saying this to them. You guys are going to feel a feeling that you've never felt before, ever, when those lights come up and you're going to start dancing in front of all of these people that are there to support you. Like, it's not a dance recital and your parents are like, oh, you're so cute. And no, this is people from all over in New York City coming here to see Broadway professionals, and then you're closing the show. It just like,
it's big. And I wish, when I had told them they are going to be on the red carpet and they had a time, I wish I was filming that, because their faces were like, we are, like, so yeah, it is going to be big for them. It's big for all of us.
That's that's just absolutely amazing. And hopefully you guys are going to be recording this, different parts of it, just the parts that you can, just so like the whole journey up, like that would be such one,
Yeah.
just a good thing for other people to see too.
Yeah,
And
we
behind
have
the
been.
scenes,
We have been
yeah.
doing behind the scenes a
Yeah, you
lot.
need some good behind, I guess it's just the content creator mindset for me, but you do need some good
Yeah.
behind the scenes. You definitely
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and I know to go back to what you had said your podcast is in, reference to and mental health. I believe physical is so important for mental health, especially today with so much technology. And these dancers do come in and you can actually see them, as Priscilla said and Andrea said, sometimes they come in and go, oh, they're off. And you watch them through the night because a lot of them are there anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a night. And you watch them transform and start to leave what they thought was horrible, as they walked in behind, and it's got a different perspective for them.
I love that.
'Cause
So
they're
that leads me to my final question. We're going to answer this for each and every last one. We're going to start off with Liz. What do you do? Because you guys are really a family-oriented company. You guys have family as the backbone of all the things that you do, whether it's with the students, yourselves as a family core. But how do you as individuals, Liz, starting with you, how do you take care of yourself outside of putting this all together, and not just for the Chita Rivera Awards, but just for everything? What do you do for your own mental health and care?
Okay, so for me, I still exercise. I feel like I eat fairly well. Um, I look at everything I do, and honestly, having children, I feel like has prepared me even more for what I do. I danced before I had children, okay, but you're different in a different mindset. Then I had children, and everything I do I feel like it's like a production. It's all set as a production. It has to go through certain phases and steps. So whenever I'm preparing anything in life, I do it as a production. Like, what do you do first? What do you do second? What do you do third? What do you do fourth? Um, to get to the successful end of it. And I feel like I've done that with my life as well, because I am going towards the end of and passing it on now to them. I'm still in there managing, as the managing director. They still have a lot to learn the back end of the business, but they're very gifted in what they do, and I support that. So I try, like everything else, it's a production. When we started this, I knew what my job was going to be, and I knew what their job was going to be. So I guess, does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense.
And I do sleep. I get my sleep. I will say that.
Sleep, people underestimate the power of sleep, but sleep is a form of self-care. It really is. Sometimes you do all these things, you're running on E, and you think you need all kinds of different things, but you really just needed a nap. You just needed a quick nap.
You get, and Andreas can swear to it. I'm in bed at 9:30. I might be making notes. I'm a big note person. I have to write lots of notes. If I don't have notes, I'm pretty much off course.
Yeah, I do it too.
Yeah.
I was taking notes while you guys were talking. Like, I'm always about good notes too.
Yep.
Andreas, what do you do?
Andreas,
For mental health.
Mhm.
I think there's so many aspects that go into mental health and giving it the support that it needs. I think nutrition is a very big aspect. Just like you just said, sleep is one of the other cornerstones. Physical health is another really great one. Making sure that you get vitamin D, going outside, getting sun, that's going to give you the natural energy you need. And then I think from another viewpoint of just being communicative about how you're feeling. If you're not having a good day, telling people that, like, I'm sorry if I'm coming off a certain way, I'm not feeling great in the moment, I just need kind of a mental health day. Not being afraid to just give yourself those moments of just silence or whatever you need to go through the emotions and feel better. Communication is a big part of it. Making sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally, so a lot of self-talk, making sure that you're not negative with yourself. You can be open about yourself. You can say, I don't like how this makes me feel, but don't be like, this is stupid, why am I doing this? Or like, why am I so stupid for thinking this? Instead, just be like, why am I thinking this? Where is this coming from? and then just giving yourself the grace that not everybody's perfect. That perfection doesn't exist. I always say practice makes progress, not practice makes perfect, because it just, you don't want to keep chasing something that isn't attainable, you know. And so also in line with that, I think a big thing for especially dancers or young people is goals and aspirations are really great and dreams are wonderful to have, but you want to have short-term goals as well as long-term dreams. You want the short-term goals because that's going to be what keeps you going, the drive. And then the dreams are something that you want to go for. But the short-term goals need to be something that's actually attainable for your mental health. You don't want to give yourself a goal and only think about that one goal that if you don't get it done in this time frame, you're going to be distraught over it. So I think just realistic goals is something really important, as well as like amazing dreams, things that you aspire to do, you know. Yeah, I think it's just trying to maintain a great balance is the biggest thing. And just enjoy what makes you happy. Find what makes you happy, and who cares if other people think weird of it.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy, that's you, you know. And once you let go of judgments and expectations from others that you put on yourself, I think it's a lot more freeing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Ms. Priscilla, you get to end us out on what you do for self-care and mental health and wellness.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I'll be honest, I've struggled with this. Especially, so I have a 6.5-year-old and I have a 3.5-year-old. And so I'm kind of in the thick of it. So like, you know, the sleeping through the night is not really a thing. And, you know, where I actually have a cold right now or something, allergies, something. So, you know, it's always something. But for me personally, I've always had anxiety, even as far back as I can remember as a kid. And I've kind of learned to actually call myself out on it. And for the longest time, I didn't really understand it. Certain things that would make me anxious, I would still do it. Or, you know, like even if it made me uncomfortable, I'd still put myself in those situations because so-and-so is doing it. Or, you know, the person next to me is fine doing it. I should be fine doing it too. And so in high school, I stopped dancing for a little bit, realized I actually made me more anxious. And I went back to dance and realized that dance is my outlet. That is my place where I can lose myself. When I exercise, I immediately feel better after. I think exactly what my brother said in terms of being open about it and not being ashamed is not the right word, but it's the only one I can think of right now. Not being ashamed that you're an anxious person. You know, you hear people so often be like, oh, well, you're just anxious, or you're just, well, yeah, I am, but I'm, you know, I'm fine. And so I think learning to deal with it and learning to, you know, positive talk and, I've learned to not be such a people pleaser, which is, I think, did not come until maybe last year at 34. You know, I'm 35 now, and I'm just starting to understand, like, I need to do what's good for, you know, the dance ground, for my family, for things like that. And I am also learning that things like nonsense drama or social media or things like that triggers my anxiety. So remove yourself from it. My brother and I were very open with how we're feeling with each other. We talk to each other often about it. And so I think that that's helpful. Having someone, my husband probably knows more about me than I know sometimes. And I think just not being afraid to just say, like, hey, I'm off today. I'm not feeling myself. Please forgive me for anything I say from here on out. And tomorrow's a new day. And so for me, it's just exercise, eating healthy, not a lot of caffeine.
I think part of also
You know?
is from when they were little, they always had that open door to tell me what and how they felt. And I think also nutrition, we were very lucky. Nutrition started from when they were very young. They always had good eating, I guess, once they habits. I wasn't always about giving them fast food all the time. When I cooked, I usually cooked good food healthy. I mean, only because I learned that from my mom. Ours mostly was because they couldn't afford to go out to eat all the time and things like that. And so I think in the long run, that was a huge benefit, and I think that matters in life. And I'm not sure that, today it's such a busy, hectic, crazy world. I don't know that people really learn to put those brakes on and take the time to do that.
I'm always encouraging other people, especially if this is like the first time somebody's listening in, to just like understand when you kept saying, I didn't realize I was anxiety, and then I learned I was anxious, and then you're acknowledging that, and that's also a part of like helping you too, because the more you can recognize the anxiety, the more you can be in tune to yourself, and that helps other people around you. I know me as a parent, I have 3 kids, and sometimes I'm just like, I gotta take a moment. Like I'm honest with them and saying, I need to take a moment because this is like I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I know that speaking up about it and you're saying, I struggle with that. I'm glad you said that, because there'll be somebody else that's listening and says, oh, they sound like they have it all together. But the reality of it is that we're first of all, we're all making sure we do the best that we can. And the more that we become more aware of the surroundings and more about ourselves, we become a little bit better at handling the stress and anxiety that does happen. And I too suffered from it from a child, but didn't even know what, back in the day. I'm 44, I just turned 44. And a lot of times back in my time, and when I was a kid, it was like nobody talked about that.
Yeah.
My parents didn't talk really about it because they didn't understand it. It was not a word. Like now, my kids are used to hearing the word anxiety, and they're used to hearing self-care, and they're used to hearing mental health. That wasn't a conversation for me growing up. And so you're not alone in the thought process of, I'm off. I'm not sure what it is, but I know that whatever it is, I'm not feeling my best. So I need to take a moment. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to recognize. And I want you to know the strength in that when you have those moments, that is your strength, because you're recognizing it and then you're doing something about it.
Yeah, one thing I didn't say, and this is something new just in the past few years that I started doing. I'm very severely ADHD. I take medication for it, which is also very important. If you need help, you need to make sure that you try and get help. But something that I've recognized about myself is that I can get very overstimulated. And then when I'm very overstimulated, it's not fair the reactions that I have to everyone else. So then when I feel it approaching, as they know, I will literally turn to them and be like, I'm really overstimulated right now. I'm going to just take myself out of the situation. And I just remove myself from it, because I know the way that I'm feeling and the way that I start reacting is not how I actually want to react to it or like put myself out there in, but I know that my brain is way too much is happening. So I just need to extract myself and, calm down a bit and then go back into the situation. So that's why like sometimes like, if I can't extract myself, I just go silent and I observe for a minute.
We just go. And honestly, I think it helps us understand our students. Like I know my anxious students like to a T.
Yeah.
And they know that I'm anxious. And so it's just like, let's just all be anxious together sometimes and we'll figure it out, and you can help them, and like you can help them be like, you're fine, you're normal. This is all normal. You're not,
And it's funny, something I started doing, I went to college for dance, and one of my teachers was really, in the moment you're like, you're kind of interesting, but like you look back on it and you really appreciate it. And she would just be like, why don't you go take a lap? Meaning like we're in class and she could tell something was off, and she would just have you go walk around outside of class and just like take a breath. And so during these moments, sometimes I would see one of our students like getting really anxious or upset, and I would walk over to them and be like, would you like to step outside for a bit? And you just want to go take a breath. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be given the option, to just separate yourself and have a breather.
Yeah, we definitely are more of a family with them. It's not just, okay, you're here to dance here. Here's 2 steps. That off. It's all good stuff. André has done many professional things. He was a part of Mrs. Maisel, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He's been a backup dancer for Coldplay. He's traveled the world. RWS. Priscilla was in a ballet company coming up. Yes, she was in a regional company for 5-6 years.
4 years.
4 years? Yeah. So there's a lot of background there. They have a lot to offer. They still have their own aspirations. He has to do, and I'm just now a proud mom.
I love hearing that. Well, I would just want to first of all say thank you, all three of you, to being here and sharing your story. And I wish you nothing but, first of all, y'all are just going to do so well on Monday. You guys are going to kill it. I know that. And to the entire dance production, you guys are going to do great. I know it. I'm going to be watching all the things to see if y'all drop something. I'm going to be watching just because, again, I just feel like that's such a great thing.
Yes, actually, yeah, you could tag her, right?
Yep, I will. Yep,
her podcast.
definitely.
And we'll see if we can get a video, maybe.
Yeah, like I know it's kind of weird, when you're in New York shows, you sometimes you can't record, but I know like the behind the scenes is always a good thing too.
Well, they will do a promo on it, on the dance ground. So once we get that, we can move that your way.
Okay.
They will do, and it'll be a really good one. So
all right, well, make sure that sends to me.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. I really do wish you nothing but pure success. And I know it's going to happen. I don't even have to wish it, but it's going to happen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It was great.
All right. Now, what did you think? I want y'all to just do everything you can to go support them. I want to put everything about them in the show notes. I want you to follow their Instagram so you can see behind the scenes of how they're preparing for this amazing show. I want you to make sure that you support. If you can donate, do all the things. Like, I'm not telling you have to. I'm just saying if you can, go ahead and do. You know why? Because dance and theater is super important. And with all these cuts in the federal government, I'm loving to see how the people are supporting young people. One thing that my mother always stressed, now she was a dancer. My mother was a dancer. My mother was also in the arts. This is why I love going to both arts and shows, because I do review a lot of arts and a lot of dance shows and things here in Philly and beyond. The one thing that I love about it is the ability, the absolute ability to see people shine, take on characters that they wouldn't be, normally be. And you take on characters even when you're dancing. Like, you tell stories even in your dance. So I love having all three on this podcast. We are welcoming them into this Conversation with Toy family. That's what we're about around here. And so absolutely loved it. Now, here's the thing. Dancing might not be your thing, although I did suggest for you to do a little dancey dance in your living room because it helps with stress. It does all the things. Here's what I want you to also do. As you are going through this weekend and you're doing all the things that are going to make you happy, you're pouring back into your cup, and I'm praying that you find an ounce of something to pour back into your cup. I am also asking that you take care of yourself this weekend. I know, like everybody else, we all have a lot of things. I am throwing my daughter a Sweet 16 party, even though her birthday is 1 week away. So we're throwing her a party a week early because of the simple fact that her birthday is so close to for the Memorial Day holiday. With that being said, I am enjoying this process, but it's going to take a lot out of me. But there will be one or two things that I'm still going to do that's going to fill my cup, even if it's nothing but reading a good book, if it's having a glass of wine, if it's taking a quick little nap so I can get my strength together to be around a bunch of beautiful teenagers. Regardless of whatever it is, I'm going to take the time to fill my cup, and I am encouraging you to do the same. Make sure that you do all the things that you can possibly do to support yourself as you're supporting the people around you in your community, your families, whatever that case may be. I love that you guys are tuning in. You guys are making me so happy. The way the numbers are going, you guys are doing that, and I love that. But I also feel like I hope that the show is also bringing some type of value, and I want to thank our guests for being a part of this conversation. This has been a great week. I want you to continue to listen to the Diddy conversation because we're going to do it. No matter how you feel about it, and whether you think he's guilty, whether you think he's not, it's none of my concern. What I do know is that it's happening, and we got to make sure we pay attention because it is what it's going to be. Even when you try to act like it's not, it is. I want you to find something to do for yourself. Fill your cup. Fill your cup. You have to fill your own cup. It's absolutely important. So I want you to have a good weekend. I will see you back next week. Thank you for listening to Conversations with Toy, and I will see you again.
Thank you as always for joining me. And I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations, that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.